Okay, I am John Gerdy, Executive Director of Music for Everyone, and we are here in week 2 of Camp MFE, our summer camp. Last session 2 weeks ago, we had about 100 kids. I think we have about 90 or so this week. But we're really delighted that this week we've been able to have another composer in residence. Krystal Grant has been kind enough to lend her time, talents, and leadership skills to the camp this week. And she has composed an original piece. So when this piece is one?
It's one piece with 4 short movements.
Okay, and then so today, when we perform it later this afternoon, it will be the world premiere, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Krystal, but tell me about yourself. Where are you from and how'd you end up here?
Well, I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and I was born there, raised there, and I was a piano student, so I started when I was 6 and was a piano major in college and had an unofficial minor in composition. It was a Thanksgiving break. I spent more time working on my final project, which was writing a prelude and fugue for theory class, than I did practicing for juries, which would happen in December. So it was, yes, I actually enjoy this a lot. I had taken lessons in composition for 1.5 years in high school as well, so it just kept coming back. And I ended up, I was at the Vanderbilt University Blair School of Music, studying piano and studying Spanish. And then I went to graduate school at Stony Brook University in composition. Mm-hmm. And so I did my master's and doctorate there. And then I got a job as the music professor of composition at Lancaster Bible College, which brought me to Lancaster 5 years ago.
Tell me about the composition that you created for this crew.
All right, so the theme is the story of the Phoenix. Michael Germanis, who is leading the strings this camp, he mentioned to me that story is something that speaks to the kids and imagery, and something I think about because I think about that life is a struggle sometimes, and that this theme of being able to rise again. And so the resilience that is part of the myth of the Phoenix was something I wanted to bring out in the piece. So the first movement is soaring, and it's been nice rehearsing upstairs because there's this big skylight window. And so I was like, just imagine it's a perfectly clear sky. Mm-hmm. Just one bird you see in the distance. Mm-hmm. And so there is a kind of calm sereneness to that first movement. The second movement is falling, and I thought it would be disorienting to be in a 5/8 meter. So if you know the Dave Brubeck Take 5, it's in 5 and it's off kilter, which was a fun challenge for the kids. Mm-hmm. We marched around in 5/8 just to feel the off kilter of that, and so they've been doing really well with that piece. So that's falling. The third movement is ashes, and it is a dark, slow, kind of low rumbling of the phoenix having in the process of burning and being burned. And then the fourth movement is rising. And I started out writing a slow march, and it turned into klezmer, so, which is a genre that I love. I've studied a good bit of Jewish history, had an internship in New York with a Jewish music collective called Shimspeed, and so it was meaningful to me. And the group leaders, Tyler and who's leading the brass, I can't remember his name at this moment, Rick. They are Rick. They're fans of klezmer too, so that was fun. Right. To get to do that with the kids, and so that's the piece.
Okay, another thing I wanted to talk to you about. I was sitting yesterday in rehearsal watching you work, and I was struck by the notion that there are a lot of these kids who probably have never ever seen an African American woman in that position of composing the piece and directing it, and because I'm sure probably you didn't grow up.
No, that's one of the reasons I am extremely grateful for this opportunity. I talked to Brendan about it earlier this week, just when I was their age. I did not know any African American composers, period. I was a classically trained pianist all through school, got into listening to jazz and dabbling in it a little bit in grad school, but classical musicians as composers, I did not know about until I was in my 20s. And that was literally walking to the library, and there was a book of piano music by Black women composers. There's this one little publishing company, it's Hildegard Publishing, and they put out music by women, but they have a collection that is piano music by African American women. And so through my own kind of research and study, I spent this summer playing some solo piano music by Harry Burleigh, who has done a lot of spiritual arrangements and other music, and singers in his day at the beginning of the 20th century loved his music. So I have done a lot of study, but I am thrilled that these kids will have a better experience with classical music than I had. That someone who looks like you does this, which is just it. For me, that's, you can do whatever you want. Like, I am a composer, and I am a pianist, and I love working with musicians of any age. Like, I like shepherding artists, like something I was reflecting on. And so, but like, you can be whatever it is you want to be, but it helps to see someone doing that.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. A couple more quick questions. What would you tell all these kids in terms of advice you'd give them? I mean, these aren't your typical quote-unquote classical kids. You know, there's a lot of, diversity here on the stage, and clearly coming at it from a non-traditional background.
I think the most important thing, especially if you're going to be an artist, is to figure out who you are. Just kind of like find what is it that you are passionate about, what isn't that you are talented in, and apply yourself, invest in those things. Whether it's music, whether it's drawing, whether it's, and even if it's not something artistic, if it's business, entrepreneurship, if it's science, if it's engineering, like whatever it is, like figure out what it is that you love doing, that you have talent in, that you can find role models for, like figure that out. I think that's what I would tell them to do.
And what are they going to take from this experience out into the world with lessons and apply to their schoolwork or job?
Well, there's a big level of responsibility in playing orchestra music that I have to know my part in order to participate well. So I am responsible for my part so that the whole works well. And there's a lot of collaboration, there's the listening, there's kind of respecting others, there's understanding where you are in relation to other people and learning to be okay with that. So there are a lot of kind of personal skills, I think, that are developed through doing something like this.
All right. What's next for you?
I am moving to Richmond, Virginia in a week, and I will be an adjunct instructor of music theory and oral skills at Virginia Commonwealth University, and I'll be making music, I'll be composing, I'll be finding what's happening locally there, and I'll come back to visit Lancaster every few seasons.
We hope you do. We hope you come back and visit us at camp again. All right.
I'm very grateful to get to work with Music for Everyone, because I've known about this organization for a few years, and I'm glad it's the last project I'm doing during this residence, actually physically living residence in this area.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Krystal Grant.